So I have made up my thoughts around the game of Arsenal versus PSG. It sunk in. Unfortunately, we lost, but now I'm a bit more level-headed. We have to discuss another player ratings because I think there are some players we need to talk about. My ratings go from 5, which is total shocking performance, up to 10, which is the best one. So let's go first of all to David Raya. I think David Raya was very good today. He was not special, but I would say 8.5. He saved the penalty, which was magnificent. What a save he made. And his ball distribution was unfortunately not the best one, but he didn't have to do much in the first half. But when he was called up, he was there. And the one time Barcola sprinted through and goal, he came out a little bit too late, but he made the save in the end, and that's all that matters. So very good performance from him, 8.5 for him. Let's go now to Hincapié. Hincapié was absolutely spectacular today. He was a beast. For me, straight 10. He won every duel, which I can remember. He was just a dog. He just worked hard. There was just no way of getting around him. He linked up well with the center backs and also with the defensive midfielders. He was just special and phenomenal. I haven't seen him play this good in any match, and he was very, very good so far for us. But I think this was his best performance so far in an Arsenal shirt. He was one of the best, if not the best. But let's get later on to the man of the match. Let's see, let's find out. Then let's go to the center back, Saliba. Saliba for me was a 9. He played very good in defense in the first half. He won every single header, as I remember, and he was just tough to break down. Ousmane Dembele saw no land against him, and also his partner in crime in Gabriel. Gabriel, for me, the second center back, makes an 8. He unfortunately is the tragical figure in this game, maybe also with Eze, but he took the last penalty and he's guided. But you gotta give him credit because he took on this penalty. So he stepped up as a center back to say, okay, I want to take the penalty and maybe also the last one of the first 5. Everybody can miss, especially a center back, but he has the self-belief and the confidence, and he stepped up for the team. Unfortunately, he didn't make it, but otherwise than that, it was a very good performance from him. He won as well as Saliba every single duel in the first half, except one time he made a big mistake, but he mopped it up. It's a good performance from him, but I'm very sad for him. I hope he doesn't take it too hard and now has the World Cup with Brazil to play. And I hope next season it will not be in his mind, but it will be tough for him to shake off, but a solid performance nonetheless. Let's go to right back Mosquera. Mosquera for me was today a 7.5. I think Mosquera had a very good start in the beginning. I think he played a decent part in the first half. There were not many problems for him in the first half, but then he got a silly yellow card for time wasting. And that maybe also caused for him to rush his thought as he fouled Kvaratskhelia, which was a bad foul for him. At first sight, I thought it was necessary, and then as I saw the replay, I saw that Hincapié was in the middle. He would have been the last line of defense. And so it was just not well done from him in this situation. And Kvaratskhelia took the foul. Clever players know how to draw the foul. It was a foul. We cannot discuss that, but it was his worst moment of this night. Soon afterwards, he got subbed. I thought otherwise was good. He won some duels. He showed his speed, and he's a very young defender and not playing in his natural position. So 7.5 for him. Decent performance, I would say. Rice for me was an 8.5. He played a decent part in midfield, I think, because yes, PSG had 75% possession or something crazy like that. But what our defensive midfield and our center backs really managed is they didn't let anybody through the middle. There was barely nothing I can remember which got through the middle. At the end of the game, when the players got tired and counterattacks were coming, okay. But in the regular part of the game, barely anything. One time he lost the ball really badly. Barcola had a very good chance. But otherwise than that, I cannot really remember him being at fault for something. He just was rock solid at the 6, as he always is. And for me, 8.5 for Rice. Let's go to Maslow Skelly. I think Maslow Skelly was also very good. 8.5 for me today. He was similar to Rice. He won big duels in critical moments, and he just locked up the middle with Rice. They didn't win the midfield today. The midfield was won by PSG, but they didn't let anything through the middle in the last line of defense. So that was the best part of it. He had one or two very, very good clinical passes in the first half because Arsenal had a hard time of keeping the ball, as we all know, through the whole game. But this was really good from him. Let's move on to Odegaard. I think Odegaard was an 8. I think he had good ball possession sometimes, but sometimes he lost the ball too easily. It wasn't his best game, but I think it was a solid performance from him. Made some mistakes, but otherwise was okay. He was also crucial, I think, for blocking passing lanes, where he was so good with Maslow Skelly and with Rice. PSG was dominant with ball possession, but they haven't had many chances and they couldn't even score an open goal in this game. And I think also Odegaard was there a big part because he blocked passing lanes the whole game. Let's move on to Saka. Saka was, I think, an 8 for me today. He tried some things. It wasn't his best performance, but he had a very good ball into the middle where Arsenal almost scored. And PSG were very, very lucky in the first half that Arsenal didn't score a second time. And otherwise than that, he was a little bit tired in the second half, and so he got subbed. I think you can also say we needed some more efficient players in a penalty shootout, and Saka would have helped there. But he came from an injury, and it was not his easiest season, but played a good part in this game, but was not very spectacular. It was just solid. Let's move on to Trossard on the other side. Trossard for me was also an 8. He had very, very good moments on the ball in the first half, also in the second half, some decent moments. Opponents have a hard time splitting him from the ball because he's such a good player on the ball. He's technically gifted, and he had a very, very good performance for me. And he was also crucial on the first goal because he blocked a ball where PSG, I think Fabian was it, wanted to clear the ball, and this ball was blocked from him and bounced straight into the lane where Havertz sprinted right down, and Havertz scored of this moment. And let's get right into Havertz. Havertz for me is an 8.5 today. The goal was very well finished. I thought his last touch was too heavy, and I couldn't imagine that he would score from that position, but he just smashed it right up top over the goalkeeper. This was special. The hold-up play was good, but sometimes he also was not strong enough and just went down a little bit too easy, as we often see from him. But he had good ball possession moments. He had good passes throughout the game, and I think he was our best striker today. And he also validated Arteta's decision to start him because I was a little bit surprised that he started. But in big matches, Arteta uses Havertz in front, and he managed to score the goal, which was very, very important in this game for us. Let's go to the subs. Gyökeres came on in the second half. I think he was poor, actually. He had one chance in overtime, but otherwise than that, he wasn't crisp on the ball. He tried but couldn't do much of anything. He had hardly any service. He couldn't do anything with the ball, and he wasn't very good protecting the ball, and he was not an asset of keeping the ball. Also, when Raya put the ball long, he couldn't protect the ball on body defenders. And so, I don't know, it wasn't his strongest suit. Maybe it's because he just got subbed and he's not starting. Maybe that does something to him. But you have to give him credit for. He scored a goal in a penalty shootout. He's just deadly on penalties. Fantastic for him. But unfortunately, we were on the short end. Let's go to Madueke. Madueke for me, same as Gyökeres, 6.5. He tried a little bit more on the right side than his counterpart Martinelli, who also came on later. But I think he had one good sequence because he made a good run, and Eze couldn't hit him. Otherwise than that, I thought he would take the last penalty. I think he may have got a better chance as an offensive player than Gabriel, but maybe he wasn't brave enough to say, I want to shoot. I don't know how they talked it out, but Madueke was okay, but he didn't make a splash. He couldn't make a difference for us from the bench. Let's go into Martinelli. Martinelli for me, same note. It's a 6.5. Offensively, very poor, but he scored a penalty, which was taken very, very well from him because before he stepped up, I thought just, oh shit, it's Martinelli and I'm nervous, a Brazilian. But the other Brazilian then afterwards didn't make the shot, and Gabriel, but took his penalty very well into the left corner. A great penalty, but otherwise than that, there was nothing offensively from him. He had one very big chance to make a great pass to Madueke, but he couldn't do it. It was just a bad ball by him. Next up, Eze. Eze for me, 6.5. He unfortunately missed the penalty and also very bad. Wide left, I think 1.5 meter wide left or something like that. And he has this weird mini steps in front of a penalty. I don't like it. Many players are well at it or do well with it, but this time it didn't work. But as is normally a good penalty scorer in this case, he is also with Gabriel a tragic figure of this loss of Arsenal. But he tried things, but there wasn't much happening for him, as well as for Martinelli and as well for Madueke. I think the subs were not good, and that leads me to Subimendi. He was for me also 6.5. I know I'm repeating myself, but these players haven't made a difference for me. He had one decent clearance, otherwise than that, you could hardly see him. He didn't shine or made an impact after he got subbed in for Skelly and Timber. Timber for me was a surprise because he had a long injury, didn't play much. Now he's back and he looked very, very, very well. Also offensively, he even had a shot on the outside of the net in overtime, and he tried and he was technically gifted in this game because normally we say he's defensively so good. Maybe he could have done a better job than Mosquera. I think so, but his lungs weren't there after long injury, or so the coach said. So we got to respect that decision. But he was very, very well when he came out. Very good cameo from him. Let's go into my man of the match. Man of the match for me, clearly, I thought about two players, Saliba and Hincapié, but Hincapié was the best Arsenal player today. He won every single duel I can remember, and he was just a dog today. He was just a beast in defense. So solid in defense. Nobody could do anything to him today. He was exceptional. So my man of the match, Hincapié, with the best note of a 10 straight up. Let's go into coach Arteta. I think for him, he gets as well 10 points for me. Why is that? Not because we lost, but I think he was very brave to start Hincapié, who was my man of the match and who was so defensively brilliant. Instead of Calafiori, which was a big move, yeah, Calafiori would have helped us maybe offensively, but defensively would have been a tougher situation for us. So it was a tough decision, but he went for the right one. He also started Maestro Skelly in midfield, which was very brave because he was a very, very good part of our game today. Just stuck to his guns, and one of his main focus guys is Kai Havertz, and he scored, and that's all a coach needs. An attacker who you bring on or who you start scores the goal. That's job done. I think the subs were good, but the subs couldn't make an impact, but it's the players. So, and lastly, I normally do not do this, but the referee today, Daniel Siebert, I think is called, was shocking, was absolutely shy today. He had a few right decisions, but the one big one was the penalty he gave against Arsenal. There was a clear penalty, but otherwise than that, he was just shocking. I know he didn't give a penalty to Arsenal. It wasn't a penalty, but otherwise than that, he was just poor. I think every body contact of Arsenal and PSG was basically a foul. It was just body contact as a foul. It was just rough to watch. It was not flowing the game. It was just feeling heavy, heavier than it has to be. And it was a final. I think it was a very, very poor performance from him. I hope he learns from this. We can only hope that when we see him again, that he is on his horse then. But this was my player ratings. Unfortunately, we lost, but I'm proud of Arsenal, of our players, what they did in the Champions League this season. It was tough against PSG, a better equipped side offensively, and basically the whole squad, except I think the center backs and maybe the goalkeeper. But we did our best. Defensively, it was very good. It was lacking offensively. This is my player ratings for the Champions League final. I hope you're doing a little bit better. And in the coming days and coming weeks, we maybe look back and say, okay, we give it a good try. And maybe next year will be our year. See you soon. I'm Sevgunner.